Hello and welcome. This is Daniel Mascarenhas, your host for Algebra 2 Fun on this Friday morning, giving you solutions for radical equations, everything you ever wanted. So, here we have question number 1. We have to solve this equation for x. So the key is to isolate everything around x, clear off the brush. So we have this 2 here and we have this 2 here. Since this 2 is inside the radical, I will deal with it later. How do I get rid of this 2? I divide both sides by 2. And I have that. Now the radical is clean, meaning there's nothing else around the radical. We only have the radical. This would be a good time to attack the radical. So I square both sides. I square both sides. The squaring gets rid of the radical here, and the right side gets squared. And then I subtract 2 from both sides. I subtract 2 from both sides, and I get x is equal to 14. Now, because we have raised both sides by an even power, we have to check for extraneous roots, meaning sometimes the roots that we get from this method may not work. So we have to plug back in, plug x equals to 14 in the equation, and we will get 2 square root of 14 plus 2 is that equal to 8. As we can see, 14 plus 2 is 16. So 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to 8, and so we are good. On the next page, I will attack question 4, as we can see here. Well, right now the radical is clear, meaning there's nothing around it. So we can directly start squaring. We can square both sides because the radical is clear. There's nothing else besides the radical. So if I square both sides, I will get something like this. I have squared both sides. And I need to FOIL this or use the formula. What is a minus b? X minus 4 the whole squared. Well, x minus 4 the whole squared is x squared minus 8x plus 16. Move everything to one side. I would prefer to move everything to the right because I want to keep this as a positive 1. It just makes life easy when the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. And I will get this. So I've subtracted 2x from both sides, so 8x becomes negative 10x, negative 8x becomes negative 10x, and I subtract 7 from both sides, so 16 minus 7 is 9. Now this is our old friend, a quadratic equation, and it looks like we can factor it very easily. I know you've been practicing your factoring, and now we have factored it. What does this mean? Well, this means x minus 9 equals 0, so x equals 9, or x minus 1 equals 0, x equals 1. Well, because we have raised it to an even power 2, we have to check whether these are going to work, whether these roots make sense. So if I substitute x equals 9 in here, I will get 2 times 9 plus 7 equals 9 minus 5. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 plus 7 is 25. And 25 square root is 5. This is a 4. And equals 5, and so we are good. In the same way, I have to substitute x equals 1. So I will get 2 times 1 plus 7 is equal to 1 minus 4. And this will give me 3 equals negative 3. Not good. Boo. Okay, so it doesn't work. So that's how you would solve for x. Square both sides, solve the resulting quadratic function. Lastly, I will do number 7. Make sure we have the camera here. This is low budget production. I don't have a separate cameraman, so here we go. Alright, so this is the radical. If you don't notice it, well, raised to half means it's the radical. Alright, so the radical is a square root. It is by itself. There's nothing else around it. So I can just go ahead. And square both sides. Now that I've squared both sides, I want to move everything to one side. I prefer to keep a positive 1 here, so everything moves to the right. I can factor this, and now that we have factored it, I can say I know x equals 4, x equals 3, and then I will have to start checking. X equals -3, and I'll have to start checking. Well, I'm going to substitute x equals 4, so I'll get 4 plus 12 raised to half equals 4, and that is true because 12 plus 4 is 16. Or I will get 3 plus 12 raised to half, -3 rather, is equal to -3, and I will get 3 equals -3, not working, right? Not working. You can write whatever words you want there as long as you communicate to me that it is not a solution. And well, that's all we have for today. I hope you have a good weekend. You can watch these videos if you have trouble falling asleep at night. I will see you in class.